So look, there are three types of men in this world. The first one is the nice guy. And regrettably, this is who I was for most of my teens and 20s. I was friendly, I was respectful to other people, and I thought that made me a good person. But the reality is that I was afraid. I was afraid of conflict. I was afraid of doing anything that might make someone else not like me. And of course, that was devastating for my dating life because I couldn't take risks with girls. So if this is where you are, you need to move forward as fast as possible so you stop missing out on opportunities or getting friend zoned. The second man is the fake alpha. And it's frustrating because a lot of times this is the guy who steals your girl. And you're like, man, why would she choose him? He's such an asshole. I'd be so much better for her. But you also don't want to be this guy because really it's just someone who struggles to control their emotions. They get frustrated and they lash out at other people. It's the same guy who's driving his car, he gets road rage and he's yelling at other people, or he gets drunk and he gets aggressive. Yes, it can work with women. Some women at least, because it kind of like fake signals that he has confidence and that he can be a protector and a provider. But it's really only going to work with women who are very young and naive, or women who have low self-esteem and are used to being treated like shit. Not the top quality girls that you actually want to build a relationship with. Now, the third type of man is the one who is capable of violence. And what makes him different is that he can face conflict in a calm, calculated way. And this allows him to get the hottest girls because he can go after what he wants. He can create that sexual spark, but he can also set boundaries and lead the relationship forward in a way that allows it to grow and stay stable. And these type of guys also tend to be the most financially successful because they're able to take those calculated risks and not let their emotions take control of them ever. And that is why in this video, we're gonna take a look at the 5 things I had to do to kill my inner nice guy and become this type of man. Now, to be this type of man, you first have to look like a man, which means no more boyish outfits that give off these young, innocent vibes. And luckily for you, today is the perfect timing to level up your outfits because the Edge Black Friday sale just went live. This means that everything on the website, including the brand new items, are discounted up to 60% off. This is by far the biggest deals of the year. Now that we're in the fall and winter season, you're gonna need a jacket that has a masculine look, and the new Berlin jacket has you covered. It's built from a premium fabric and uses the perfect mid-weight insulation that offers warmth without looking bulky. And it pairs perfectly with our premium denim jeans that are now available in this dark blue colorway by popular demand. Or maybe your gym outfits are lacking. Then grab a pair of our best-selling joggers that are available in a variety of different styles and fits, and match it with one of our brand new enhanced mesh tank tops that are designed specifically to enhance your physique and make your shoulders and arms look bigger. Now, for nights out or date nights, I definitely recommend a pair of our chino pants. We offer the active chinos for a more formal look or the casual chinos for a more old money vibe. Both have a high-end look, but because of the built-in stretch, it legitimately feels like you're wearing sweatpants. And these pair nicely with one of our active polos, now available in this sick new black colorway. Just go to edgelifestyle.com or click that first link in description to shop now, but do not hesitate because at these prices, things are gonna sell out extremely quickly, and once they're gone forever. Click that link. Do not miss out. Number 1, remove the gray area. So back when I was working as a personal trainer, next to my gym, there was a Lululemon store, and there was this super hot blonde girl that worked in that store. And I told myself, I'm going to ask her out. Like, it's not even a question. I'm gonna ask her out, bro. I just gotta wait to the next opportunity I have. So, after work, I'd stroll through the store, but she'd be talking to a customer, so I'd dip out. Or she'd be in the gym working out, but there'd be like, a few too many people close to her that might overhear the conversation, so I'd wait for the next time. And it's this super weak bullshit that I used to do. I would always leave this gray area, this wiggle room for myself. Rather than saying, I'm gonna ask her out next time I see her, I would say, I'm gonna ask her out the next time that I have an opportunity. And the funny thing is, by the time I worked up the courage to ask her out, she had a boyfriend, and I missed my chance. What I've changed since then is that now I seek out these gray areas in my life, and when I find them, I destroy them. Next time I see her, I'm going to ask her out. Even if I have to wait for her to finish dealing with a customer, or if I have to do it with some other people in the gym nearby. And a lot of times this has to do with saying no to people. For example, when I go out, if my friends are drinking, I'll have 1 or 2 drinks, but it doesn't matter what they say after that. No, I'm not drinking more. I'm gonna feel like shit tomorrow. Or I'd be texting a girl trying to set up the first date, and she'd ask, hey, is it cool if my friend comes along? She's in town. No, I don't want your friend to come out on the date. No, I don't want to keep texting you if we're not going to meet up in person. No, it's not cool if my girlfriend is going on a girls' trip to Miami or Dubai. No, I'm not okay staying in a relationship where there's no sex or spark anymore. No, I'm not okay with it if a girl I'm dating starts to prioritize her friends and her career above our relationship. You cannot leave any gray room with these decisions, or you're going to rationalize the weaker decision every time. As you experience new things in life, you have to decide and understand what is a no and what's a yes, and you cannot compromise on those things. Otherwise, you will always stay the nice guy, and other people, they're not going to respect you because they'll know they can just bully you into staying in whatever situation they want to keep you in. Number 2, you got to be able to break past being friendly from time to time. Now, there's a massive difference between deciding to say no to someone versus actually following through and telling them no. You might be watching this video right now hyped up like, fuck yeah, David, I would never tolerate that shit from a girl. But then the situation happens and it's gonna test your resolve. You're texting a girl, you ask her if she wants to hang out. She says, no, I'm busy this week. So you try again next week. You say, hey, do you wanna hang out? And then she doesn't respond for a day. Then she responds the day later and says, haha, how's your week going? She doesn't even answer the question about wanting to hang out. What do? You know it should be an automatic no if you ask a girl to hang out twice and she flakes or ignores the question, but she texted you back and she's hot. So maybe this time I don't say no. Maybe I give it one more shot for this girl. Ready? Here are 3 ways that I practice conflict in my everyday life. So when these situations come up, I can approach them with confidence and I can tell people no. Number 1, do not explain decisions. So maybe a buddy of mine texts me and says, hey bro, tomorrow can you help me move this furniture? And maybe tomorrow I'm really busy, but I feel bad saying no. And I want to be like, well, my girl's not feeling well, so I can't make it there. No, do not explain. Instead, I practice by just saying, no, tomorrow I cannot do that, unfortunately. Or maybe I got a date scheduled and the girl hits me up the day before and says, hey, can we actually meet closer to my place? I'm gonna say, no, let's stick with the plan. No explanation. Not only is this good practice, but also with girls in the early stages, man, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. She's gonna continue to walk all over your ass after that. Number 2, challenge people. This is one of my favorite things to do socially because no one ever does it and it's actually fun. But when someone says something you don't agree with, so for example, a lot of guys in Beast Nation recently have been telling me when they're showing up to dates or messaging with girls, a lot of girls right now are like, I can't believe Trump won, man. Like the United States is gonna be hell for the next 4 years. The democracy is gone. Well, I think that's a ridiculous claim. So I would say, really? Why do you think that? What makes you believe that? And then I would just sit back and observe. People are not used to being challenged because usually you'll just let it go and not address it. Or you might get a bit emotional and be like, fuck that bitch, why would you say that? And I don't just do this with politics. Maybe someone's talking about how Kanye West is crazy. And I think I know Kanye West is the GOAT, the greatest musician of all time. I would ask him, really, you don't like Kanye? Why not? The key is to do it in a very neutral, just curious tone, but this is the best practice for conflict, really. And the point's not even to prove them wrong or to get in a disagreement, it's just to practice the conflict. And after they respond, I might just say, oh, I disagree, but that's an interesting perspective. And number 3, this is the most difficult one, confront disrespect immediately. If someone blatantly disrespects you, even though you don't want to cause a scene or you don't want things to escalate, as a man, you must confront that disrespect. So for example, earlier this year, I was on a flight with Julia from Germany back to Spain. This is when we were living in Marbella, and I had paid for us to sit in the front row. It wasn't business class. This flight didn't have business, but there was more legroom. So I was sat by the window, Julia in the middle, and then the aisle seat was open. So a guy gets on with his daughter, and this is his seat next to us. And he looks at us and he says, hey, can my daughter take your seats because she gets nervous when she flies? And I was like, this guy just assumed and said it in the most presumptive way that we would just give up our seats that he knows very well because he paid for that seat too. And on top of that, if you really want your daughter to sit in the front, can't you switch seats with her? So I took it as disrespect. I looked up at him and I said, no, we chose these seats. And I looked back forward. And I said it in a bit of aggressive tone because afterwards Julia was like, oh man, you didn't have to like escalate things. But the interesting thing is it did not escalate, because when you confront the disrespect immediately before it goes on, it tends to squash things right there. I promise, bro, if you look for opportunities to practice these 3 things in your daily life, approaching conflict and setting boundaries is gonna feel so much easier. Number 3, identify your fist of control. So question for you, right now, what do you have going on in your life that requires absolutely no help or approval or assistance from anybody else? So for me, even if all my friends abandoned me and Julia left my ass, I would still have the gym to go and work on my body and experience growth there. I would still have this YouTube channel to grind out videos, create new content, and try to experience growth there. But for you, what do you have going on that you can work on and grow regardless of anyone else? Drop a comment below right now, because this is your fist of control. And this should give you peace of mind that even if everyone abandons you and no girl ever shows you any attention, you still have a life. You still have something to focus on. You still have something to dedicate yourself to. And that gives me intense peace of mind, because I don't have to rely on anyone else. I don't have to rely on women giving me approval. Yes, it would be devastating if my wife left me. That would suck, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I got plenty of other shit that I can keep my head down on. But if you're still in the nice guy phase, likely what you'll find is that you don't have anything going on in your life. And because of that, you're latching to every opportunity you get with girls, and you're hoping that that's where you're going to get your happiness and your contentment from. Or maybe you do have things going on in your life, but you haven't been aware of the fist of control. And now bring all of your attention to those things. Those are things you can depend on. But without that, you'll continue to obsess over girls, be afraid of rejection. Whenever they give you any attention, you'll chase them and text them until you've simped them away. Without the fist of control, you'll always feel and act in a hopeless manner. Number 4, learn to fight. So let's be very logical here. You can never be a man who is capable of violence without having some experience of violence. It's impossible. You can't just hype yourself up into having this type of calm certainty that comes with knowing that, hey, if I walked out the door right now and someone tried to physically attack me, at the very least, look, I've trained Muay Thai on and off for 5 years. I haven't, in the last year, I haven't been active, but at the very least, I've faced those situations before in fights, in sparring, and I would have some idea of how I would defend myself and attack back with my fists, with my knees, with my legs. If you have zero fighting experience, you'll always have a bit of this fearful look in your eyes that men and women will recognize. This is not a guy who's confident. This is not a guy who could protect me if the shit hit the fan. And there's no other substitute other than getting some actual fighting experience. So if that's you right now, I'll just open up your phone and search for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai or MMA gyms in your area and just go in. Usually they'll give you a free class to make sure you like the vibe, and sign up for weekly classes, and ideally sign up at a location that actually allows for sparring, so you're not just sitting there practicing technique in some cardio boxing class. You can actually experience getting punched in the face. It's not a good experience, but I'm glad I've experienced it many times. Number 5, realize that this is masculinity. Literally, bro, this is something you're either gonna figure out and you're going to adapt and you're gonna become comfortable with conflict, or you're not. And you're going to continue to miss out on women and opportunities to men who are comfortable with conflict. And again, we're not talking about being an asshole and searching for conflict, but rather being able to put yourself in uncomfortable situations when it calls for it, being able to approach a girl when it calls for it, being able to set a boundary with the girl when it calls for it, being able to stand up for yourself when another man disrespects you. These things don't happen, 15, 20 times a day, but they are happening a few times a week. And if you're slipping up and hiding from all of those opportunities, well, that's going to compound week after month after year, and you'll always feel like a feminine boy. This is the difference between the masculine and the feminine. The masculine must be prepared to rise to the challenge and face the conflict when the opportunity comes. And speaking of opportunities, make sure you don't miss out on the Edge Black Friday deals, bro. Once they're gone, they're gone. That being said, right now, if you're able to talk to and even date the 6s and the 7s, the above average looking girls, but not the 9s and the 10s, then you need to watch this video next that is about how to date the 9s and the 10s. It takes a different strategy, a different approach. Click there to watch that now. If you're new to the channel, click down there to subscribe, as I drop 2 new videos every single week. You don't want to miss them. I'll talk to you in the next video. Stay beastly.